What if I told you that your biggest weakness is being too easy to figure out? Every move, every word, every reaction, predictable. Boring. And because of that, you're getting played. People read you like a children's book. But what happens when they can't guess your next move? When even you hold back just enough to keep them on edge? That's when you become dangerous. That's when you become powerful. In this video, we're going to unlock one of the most potent strategies ever whispered through history's corridors: become unpredictable. It's not just clever, it's transformative. It's how emperors ruled, how seducers conquered hearts, how rebels shook empires. Stick around, because we're diving deep into Machiavelli, obscure samurai codes, modern psychology, and rare philosophies most people never even hear about. And hey, if you're ready to stop being basic and start being a force, hit subscribe and stay sharp with us. Let's get into it. Niccolò Machiavelli, in his razor-edged manual The Prince, didn't advocate cruelty for its own sake, but control through perception. One of his most cunning insights is this: never allow the world to fully understand your next move. Predictability is not just boring, it's dangerous. When your actions are obvious, you give your enemies time to plan, plot, and poison your path. Familiarity weakens fear. Predictable people are easy to read, easy to target, and easy to destroy. But unpredictability? That's another story. When you act from a place of strategic ambiguity, when your behavior defies clear categorization, you force others to pause. You plant doubt. That hesitation becomes your armor. People begin to fear not just what you might do, but what you could do. You become a question without an answer. They tread carefully around you, offering you deference, respect, and even loyalty, not because they love you, but because they cannot risk crossing you. In power dynamics, being unreadable isn't a flaw, it's your greatest strength. In the silent world of the samurai, where a single misstep meant death, transparency was not a virtue, it was a vulnerability. Within Bushido, the ethical code of the warrior, lies a paradoxical but powerful principle: kaijitsu, the dance between truth and falsehood. To a modern mind, this might sound deceitful, but to a samurai, it was survival. Kaijitsu means never revealing the whole of your heart or your intentions. A swordsman who telegraphs his move is already a corpse. Instead, the true warrior cloaks his motives, feints with his weaknesses, and strikes with his silence. He learns to use misdirection not as a lie, but as a tool of balance, of keeping control in the chaos. In war, in love, in life, this philosophy teaches us: be layered. Let them see only what you allow. A smile can be armor, a silence can be a trap, and a misstep can be bait. In an age obsessed with authenticity, remember, even the samurai knew that the deepest truth often wears the mask of falsehood. Human psychology is wired to crave unpredictability. It's not just a preference, it's an addiction. Social psychologists discovered that variable rewards, those we can't anticipate, stimulate the brain's dopamine pathways far more powerfully than predictable ones. Why do you check your phone 20 times an hour? Not because you expect a message, but because you might get one. That, maybe, hooks the brain like a slot machine. This concept is called the uncertainty principle of influence, and it can be applied to how you carry yourself. When you're consistently unpredictable, not erratic, but playfully inconsistent, you become psychologically magnetic. People lean in. They study your face more closely. They hang on your next word. Why? Because you've become a living mystery box. You create emotional volatility, and whether they know it or not, people chase that volatility like moths to fire. You become the source of tension and relief, of chaos and calm. And whoever controls those emotional rhythms, controls the connection. Game theory, the science of decision-making in conflict and cooperation, reveals a sobering truth: if your actions are predictable, you will always be outmaneuvered. Whether on the battlefield, the negotiation table, or in daily human interaction, predictability equals vulnerability. In chess, if your opponent can anticipate your pattern, you've already lost 3 moves ago. In economics, companies that follow the same pricing strategy get crushed by rivals who innovate randomly. Strategic randomness is not stupidity, it's camouflage. It's planned unpredictability. Even intelligence agencies, like the CIA, train their agents to avoid patterns at all costs. Never take the same route. Never eat at the same cafe. Never leave at the same time. Why? Because a sniper only needs one consistent habit to end you. This principle applies to your personal life too. Never become a person of routines that others can exploit. Inject just enough chaos into your patterns that no one ever really knows who you are or what you'll do next. That mystery is your moat. One of the greatest military acts of unpredictability in history unfolded in 217 BCE, when Hannibal, Rome's most feared nemesis, lured the mighty Roman army into a trap so cunning, it's still studied in military academies today. Hannibal knew the Roman general Flaminius was arrogant and reactive. So he pretended to retreat. He burned his own supply lines, feigned weakness, and left what looked like a fleeing, desperate army. Flaminius fell for it completely. Eager for victory, he pursued without caution, straight into a narrow pass near Lake Trasimene. What he didn't know was that Hannibal had hidden thousands of troops in the fog-shrouded woods on either side. When the Roman army entered the bottleneck, Hannibal sprung the ambush. The result was catastrophic, over 15,000 Romans dead, many drowning in the lake as they fled. Not a single Carthaginian casualty was reported. This is unpredictability at its most lethal. Appear weak when you are strong. Confuse. Deceive. And strike from the shadows when the enemy is blind. Seduction is not a game of beauty or charm, it's a dance of mystery. And in that dance, predictability is the ultimate turn-off. The 17th century philosopher Blaise Pascal understood the mind's hunger for the unknown when he said, "We desire not what we have, but what is hidden." In the world of attraction, it's the unexpected glance, the sudden silence, the delayed response that builds tension. The most seductive people aren't always the ones who look best in photos. They're the ones who create emotional unpredictability. They disappear when you expect them to show up. They say no when you expect yes. They offer presence in small, potent doses. And when they reappear, it feels electric. They turn your mind into a maze. You replay their words. You analyze their gestures. They own your curiosity, and therefore, they own your desire. Predictable people become emotionally invisible. But the mysterious, they linger in the imagination, long after they're gone. Søren Kierkegaard, the enigmatic Danish philosopher, once described the self as a relation relating itself to itself. What sounds like a tongue twister is actually a profound truth. We are not linear beings. We are contradictions wrapped in paradoxes. You can be confident and insecure. You can love solitude and still crave connection. The modern pressure to be consistent is one of the greatest lies ever sold. Consistency may be efficient, but it's not real. Kierkegaard teaches us to embrace our complexity, to be both fire and water. Power doesn't come from being understandable. It comes from being multifaceted. When people can't label you, they can't limit you. Be unpredictable not only in action, but in identity. Be both the artist and the warrior. The lover and the monk. Don't harden into a single form. Become fluid, multidimensional, ungraspable. That is where your true self and your true power lives. Sun Tzu, the ancient master of strategy, didn't just teach war, he taught transformation. Be formless, he said, like water. Why water? Because it adapts. It flows around obstacles. It waits. Then it crashes with unstoppable force. Sun Tzu knew that fixed patterns are easy to defeat. An enemy who always advances is predictable. But a formless enemy, one who becomes mist in the morning and thunder at night, that enemy terrifies. And in modern life, this wisdom remains eternal. Don't let society mold you into a personality type. Don't become a routine, a category, a label. Shift roles. Change rhythms. Keep them guessing. The strongest people aren't rigid, they're responsive. The greatest power is not brute force, but the ability to appear from nowhere, to strike where no one expects, and to vanish before they even react. Be soft. Be silent. Be sharp. We live in a world that pretends to love stability, but secretly, it worships unpredictability. Look closely. Who gets promoted? Who commands the room? Who becomes unforgettable? It's rarely the most qualified, it's the most compelling. And nothing compels like mystery. Predictable people fade into the background. Their routines become noise. But the ones who disrupt expectations, the ones who say things you don't expect, act in ways that make you recalibrate. Those are the ones we remember. Think of Steve Jobs, whose volatility terrified yet inspired. Think of Elon Musk, who tweets recklessly yet bends markets with a word. Or Malcolm X, who could disarm with logic one moment and challenge power the next. Whether you agree with them or not, you watched. Because they were unstable in a way that triggered curiosity, tension, and awe. Predictability is safe. But unpredictability is magnetic. If you want power, real, narrative-shaping power, stop being stable. Start being unforgettable. The Stoics were masters of emotional control. Epictetus taught, it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. One way to be unpredictable. Stop reacting. When people expect you to explode, and you stay silent, that rattles them. When you smile instead of snapping, that breaks their script. You become untouchable, unreadable, unshakable. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that you must create your own values, not live by society's template. The unpredictable person doesn't play by others' rules. They invent their own. They challenge norms. They confuse and confront. To be truly powerful, you must become a force of nature, something no one can classify or prepare for. Psychologists studying the dark triad, Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy, found a chilling trait, strategic inconsistency. These types often succeed not because they're cruel, but because they're unreadable. One moment charming, the next aloof. They create dependency through uncertainty. You don't need to be toxic, but you do need to be unsettlingly free. Here's the bottom line, when people can't predict you, they can't control you. When they can't control you, they submit, not always consciously, but psychologically. You don't need to dominate through force. Dominate through uncertainty. Keep them guessing, and you stay ahead. Make your unpredictability intentional, strategic, and authentic, and you'll always have the upper hand. So now the question is, are you still going to play the predictable game? Or are you ready to shift into the mindset of those who move in silence and strike in mystery? This is the Beyond the Surface channel. If you felt this, share it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And make sure you subscribe, because this isn't a channel for sheep. This is for wolves who want the real tools of power, control, and attraction. Let's stay dangerous. Thank you for watching.